What's up, metalheads? Welcome to the Scrap Metal Podcast, the show for the misfits who've been listening to the same music since high school. I'm your host, John von Frankenstein, and joining me today is my metal thrashing mad co-host, Chris. Chris, I gotta ask you, man, how you feeling?
I gotta say, I'm just feeling happy to be back. You know, we took a bit of a break, but I'm happy that we're finally back in the saddle, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just happy to...
Yeah, you know, it was a little bit of a separation. Sometimes creative teams go through this, so I took the couch and Chris kept the bedroom. But I'm just really happy to be back as well. You know, it feels good. It feels right again. We're back with our people.
It was just, I was on vacation and you had COVID. Like, there was no
Which
separation.
is why I took the couch and you kept the bedroom. But what Chris is trying to say is that we're just very, very happy to be back. Like Chris said, back in the saddle again, doing our thing, doing our crazy radio voices for all our lovely, lovely audience. Chris, how have you been keeping on this hiatus your heavy metal street cred?
So I've been keeping my heavy metal street cred by watching and catching up on one of my favorite shows, What We Do in the Shadows.
Nice.
It's 5th season, I believe, recently finished, and I was behind on a few episodes. So I was watching one, and the ending credits start, and I recognize the guitar riff that's playing. And I'm like, I know this song. I regularly listen to this song. What the fuck is this song? I couldn't remember the song. And much like how, you know, I've talked about in the past, like particularly at WrestleMania, Slayer's South of Heaven starts playing. And I have trouble recognizing it. Like, I love Slayer. I listened to that song so many times. And I couldn't recognize the song, so it was like outside of the normal context. I don't expect to hear Slayer at WrestleMania. I didn't expect to hear this song on What We Do in the Shadows. So the guitar riff plays, it goes back for like one more quick joke in the middle of the credits, and then it comes back to the credits, and it's the chorus of Damnation Alley by Bitch. And on this podcast, I've talked about my love of the band Bitch. And so the chorus of Damnation Alley comes in, and I'm like, holy shit, like there's people that still listen to Bitch? This is amazing that this song is being used in the closing credits of What We Do in the Shadows. So,
not just you, Chris.
Yeah, like I just thought that was so awesome that I'm sitting there enjoying, you know, Nandor the Relentless and Laszlo and Nadja and Colin Robinson, and then all of a sudden I've got Betsy Bitch singing Damnation Alley, and it was just so awesome to hear that in this show that I love so much.
They're such a good fucking band. But I completely understand what you mean when, like, you're listening to a song and it's out of the normal context and it just surprises you. It almost jump scares you, right? In a way. Yeah. And we're right in the midst of spooky season. Halloween is just around the corner, and everybody's entitled to a good scare here and there, right? So we figured, why not? To celebrate this return to form for us, why not celebrate some jump scare songs? Songs that just start out going crazy right out of the gate, that just scare the shit out of you when you put them on because you're just not expecting them to start out with all that much energy right off the bat. Chris, are you excited to be jumping into these jump scare songs?
I am so excited to be jumping into jump scare songs. Like you're saying, it's so great when you listen to a song that is just like a punch in the face as soon as the song starts. Yeah. Which I guess is a jump scare in of itself, getting unexpectedly sucker punched. But it's just so cool, you know.
Just as Danzig.
You know, we listen to this style of music and these styles of music that are so heavy and so extreme, and you have so much of this music that's almost like a build-up. There'll be intros. We've talked about the importance of acoustic guitar and thrash metal. You know, you have these very ethereal sounds or a voiceover or narration or something to kind of build the scene. And then you have those other songs that are just immediately you are thrown into the chaos of the most extreme style of music. And I'm very excited to talk about some of those songs today.
Yeah, for sure. I love the fact that there are just bands out there that, like you said, there's a time and a place sort of for it, where you're going to have those songs that build up and it's like, you know, they really lean into the songwriting and really lean into painting a picture for the audience, right? But other songs are just like, no, this is going to be balls to the wall from the minute you hit fucking play. It's just going to be blasting out of the speakers. And like, it's just a fucking shotgun blast, a punch in the fucking face, like that sort of energy. And I love that because that also has its place. It's an art form to come up with a song that just takes off running right off the bat. Like sometimes you don't even get like a cymbal count. It's just straight into it. And I love that. I love that. It's the reason that I thought about these songs kind of being like jump scares is because of this thing that I used to do as a little asshole teenager. Back when I thought Creed was the coolest fucking band in the world, which Creed is making a comeback.
Yeah.
Creed is fucking, they are seeing a renaissance of sorts. Like, we've had our finger on the fucking pulse, baby. We talked about nu metal when everybody was talking about nu metal. We were talking about goth when everybody was talking about goth. We had our fucking metal meme redemption way back in like episode 5 or 6.
Yep.
Whatever episode that was. And we talked about Creed. We gave Creed a little bit of airtime. But for whatever fucking reason, I thought it would be really funny to play the song What If by Creed for like my cousins or my friends, because it had this clean guitar intro and sounded like really, really cool. Like Mark Tremonti's just playing like this classical piece on a clean electric guitar. And then you've got like these samples that come in and the music really dulls down. And then it like jumps into a riff at full fucking volume. So I used to be like, listen to this sample that they put in the background. It's like, it's really low. I'm going to turn the volume up real high so that you can hear it. And then they'd like put their face close to the speakers of my little 2003 boombox. And then the fucking song would start up. And they'd be like, why the fuck did you do that? So, yeah, I used to jump scare people with Creed. Listen, it's not my proudest moment. But we got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And speaking
absolutely.
of which, Chris, why don't you start us out? Give us your very first jump scare song.
So the first jump scare song I would like to talk about is The Martial Arts by Razor. This is off of their album Violent Restitution, which came out, I believe, in 1989. This song starts with a blood-curdling scream from the lead singer. Okay. No music underneath, just a absolutely blood-curdling, high-pitched scream that either this dude has the greatest breath support ever or there's a lot of effects going on, because this scream lasts for an insanely long time as the music comes in. And I remember listening to this for the first time, and like at first it sounds like it might be like a sample of like a woman screaming or like something from a movie or something. And then you realize, no, that's the lead singer screaming like that. And so the martial arts itself is just like a instrumental intro to the album.
Okay.
Honestly, it sounded like the songwriters couldn't write full songs around these riffs, so they just strung them all together for 2.5 minutes and called that a song and the intro to the album.
I dig it.
But it's a great start to a great album. Like I said, Violent Restitution, it's a really good album. But the reason I know that it is 100% the lead singer with the scream is that the second song, Hypertension, the end of the chorus, he does the same exact scream. It is this high-pitched, like blood-curdling scream that 100% hurts his throat when he does it. But it's just such a cool scream. You know, there's other screams I'm probably going to talk about that are more of the lead singer pushing themselves to the apex of their range. Right. Whereas this is just, I want to sound as frightening and vicious and extreme as possible while playing this style of thrash metal music. So yeah. It's really cool. And I think it happens in a couple other songs throughout the album, because it's, if you can do it, you got to show off, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why, you know, when we were talking about jump scares and songs that just kind of, you know, kick you right in the face as soon as they start, this was one of the first songs I thought about, the martial arts, because like I said, I knew that it started with this crazy scream from the lead singer, which like, and he doesn't even normally sing in like a high pitched voice. Like it's not like he's bringing it up. Like he's going from like a real like thrash metal growl to just these horrifying screams. It's fucking awesome.
I love stuff like that where it's almost like you don't expect that from the singer either. So it's not only is the song surprising you because it starts out with so much energy and so much volume, but when a singer doesn't normally sing within that register, that's always it's impressive and it's quite frightening as well.
Yes.
Like I always thought about that with Angel of Death. Hearing Tom Araya hit that scream, like because I only know so much Slayer, that was not a scream that I was accustomed to hearing from him. So I remember the first time I heard it, I'm like, that's the same fucking dude?
Yeah.
It surprises you. It definitely surprises you. One of the earliest examples that I could think of a jump scare song, and it's not necessarily metal, but while listening to the whole entire album on a car ride, and the person who was driving nearly drove off the fucking road because we had this album just blasting through the speakers. That was Pink Floyd's The Wall. And the song is Another Brick in the Wall Part 3, which just starts off with fucking shotgun blasts through like store windows or something. And the rest of the song is really fucking cool. Like that's, I think, probably the coolest part out of all the parts of Another Brick in the Wall. But it just catches you so off guard when you're listening to it, especially the song before it, I think ends on a fairly like mellow note. And then you just hear the shotgun blasts and the chaos. And then there's one final shotgun blast, and then it kicks into the song. And I love that because it literally did jump scare me one of the first times I'd ever heard it. Yeah, we're in this car, and I think I was visiting family in Vancouver. And we're just driving down like this long, desolate road, and the song starts fucking playing, and everyone in the car fucking jumps. Not only was I scared I was going to see fucking Bigfoot because I thought Bigfoot like lived in Canada, but I also got scared by shotguns at the beginning of a fucking Pink Floyd song. You just don't expect it from them. Again.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not in the context that you would think of. You know what I mean? That's like reserved for death metal albums and grindcore and shit like that. You know, Short Bus Pilot. That I would expect that from them. Not from Pink Floyd. Especially not on this album. But yeah, it was a really, really cool fucking way to start a song out. And to just have that last blast be the downbeat of the song, it just has that same sort of energy. You know, again, I know it's not metal. Don't hate me. This is our show. But I thought it was a really good example because it starts that song off with a lot of momentum already, starting it out that way and kind of just really grabbing your attention, which I really think like that's the reason that bands decide like, hey, let's not do a build up in this one. Hey, let's not do like an acoustic intro to this. Let's just start off running, right? I think it's just a songwriting choice. And I love to see bands explore that side of songwriting because especially with thrash metal and just power metal, like you'll get a lot of that sort of build up and the longer drawn out intros where it's like you introduce a musical theme and then you build on that musical theme and you start to do these other things where I think starting a song out just balls to the wall has its merits. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, I think like you're saying, there's so many styles of music we listen to and that we enjoy that have those longer drawn out intros and have long songs. But I think something to keep in mind, at least with some of the bands that I love, they're influenced by punk rock bands who were writing very fast, very short songs.
Right.
And so every once in a while, these guys are like, you know what? I love writing my super long clean guitar intros, or I love writing this cool harmonized thing, but for this song, I'm going to write something that is like getting drop kicked in the face as soon as the song starts. And it works because it's different enough from what the band is normally doing. You know, it's right. I know going back to our Maiden versus Priest, we talked about how Maiden only writes epics now. They think every song they're writing is Hallowed Be Thy Name, when it's like you don't have to do that. You know, people love the stuff from the 80s where you had those songs in there, but you also had short songs. Not every song needs to be 9 minutes long and play the same riff on an acoustic guitar, a clean guitar, an electric guitar, and then an electric guitar like a half step, like the next string over or something.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to
a third up. Yeah. How many analogies for jump scare songs do you think we can come up with in this episode? Because so far we've used shotgun blast, kick in the face, punch in the face. I was going to say it's like being at a Greek restaurant and the waiter just drops all the plates and everybody screams Opa. Let's keep it going. Chris, what's the next song that you say would kind of liken to hearing a box full of kittens fall down the stairs? I don't know. Would they all scream at the same time?
I don't know. That just...
They would all land. Actually, it would be very silent. They would all land on their feet.
Silent.
So that's a terrible example.
That was terrible. Terrible job.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Chris, what's the next song that would sound like someone actually recording Billy Joel throwing a rock through that glass house?
So, you already mentioned a song that I had thought about talking about. That's Slayer's Angel of Death.
Okay.
Because it does have that iconic scream right at the beginning. But that had also got me thinking about the iconic scream in The Number of the Beast, which is also a really good song, since we were just talking about Iron Maiden. But the song I actually want to listen to that I think has a great series of face melters right at the beginning of the song is the Manowar song, Blood of the King.
Okay.
This is off of their 1988 album, Kings of Metal, the last track on the album. They hit like a descending progression on like 4 chords, and then Eric Adams, not the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams comes in with 2 great face melters back to back.
Okay.
And then they hit the chords again, and then he hits a higher note, and then another higher note. And it's just, it's so cool to have this song start off with just, it's epic in a different way. Like we're saying, power metal can sometimes be epic in this. It's building towards something. You have some synth strings, and you have a mix of acoustic and clean and electric guitars building towards something. This is just right off the bat, drums, guitar, bass, hitting these 4 or 5 chords, and then the lead singer coming in with this high-pitched scream. And it's such a cool start to this song that is all about like gathering your brothers in arms to go fight and win a battle. It's because the chorus is something along the lines of till the blood on your sword is the blood of a king.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like you don't stop fucking fighting until you've killed the king.
Right.
Which is such a great, thing. And then I believe it's I forget which order the verses are in, but there's one verse that just names a bunch of their songs and like forms sentences out of the names of their songs. And then there's another verse that names like every country in Europe.
Okay.
Where it's like, our brothers in Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, our friends in Germany and Italy and Norway. And it's like, he just goes on and on. And it's like I'm saying, it's essentially a call to arms and saying like, we're going to war and we all need to keep fighting until the blood on your sword is the blood of a king. And so it's great to have these face melters that start off this epic song. And then those face melters come back at the end of the song.
Yeah.
So it's cool to bring that back. But yeah, it's when I was thinking about songs that started with more high-pitched screams in addition to the martial arts. I thought about Angel of Death. I thought about Number of the Beast, but ultimately I thought the song I'd like to talk about is Manowar's Blood of the King.
That's an awesome example. I love, Manowar gets so much shit for just being like this super macho representation, like an old school macho representation of, testosterone and masculinity. Yes. Some would say even of the toxic sort. But I feel like they're fully aware of how cartoonish it is. At least I think.
I think Eric Adams is. I'm not
Mayor of New York
sure if, yes, the mayor of New York City. I'm not sure if Joey DeMaio.
Okay.
I think he still takes himself a little too seriously. Like, he might have lightened up a little bit, but he definitely has always given the vibe that he takes it way too seriously. Mm-hmm. And Eric Adams is just kind of like, this is fucking silly. I'm having so much fun doing this. Because there's that iconic album cover that was a bootleg that they've disowned now. That is the one that everyone thinks of, where it's Eric and Joey in just loincloths. Yeah. And the other two members, I forget who were the members at the time. They're wearing like pants, or one of them is like wearing a vest or something. Joey and Eric are the only two that like are a couple like snips of a scissor away from being completely naked and oiled up. Like, it is, they needed to shoot this photo at a very specific angle. Otherwise you would have seen everything. So, and it's, I don't know about back then because that was, the mid to late 80s, but it kind of felt like Joey was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to look like these oiled up fucking Vikings and warriors, and we're going to fucking fight. Yeah. And Joey is taking it very seriously. And Eric is like, this is the silliest fucking thing in the world. Let's do it. This is so dumb. Let's fucking do it.
It's anytime I bring up an idea to you, I'm like, we'll talk about how fucking cats are being thrown down the stairs, dude. And I'll have this bit about how I'm sleeping on the fucking couch, dude, And you're like, yeah, I'm so excited about it. And you're like, yeah, this is going to be fucking stupid. Let's do it.
Don't get any ideas of trying to get us to take pictures in loincloths, all right?
Well, now we have to. So the next song that sounds kind of like a Spartan kicking you in the chest that I can come up with. We named the episode Jump Scares. Why aren't we just talking about jump scares? The next song that makes me think of that really famous jump scare in The Exorcist 3 is the song This Calling by the band All That Remains. Similar to your prior two examples, this song starts out with a crazy, crazy high-pitched scream. And what made me laugh was that I've always remembered this song as just being like nothing and then the scream from Philibon. But listening back to it recently, it's like you hear the breath in before and then it comes in, which is still really fucking cool. It still has a lot of that energy that we're talking about and still holds that same sort of power. But it's a metalcore song. So like it starts out and you just like, that's the very fucking beginning of the song. Terrible, terrible scream, by the way. But then it goes into like this real metalcore groove. And I love the duality of the two. Just starting fucking balls to the wall and then going into something that sounds kind of sweet. Kind of nice in that metalcore way. We're going to do a metalcore episode one day, people.
Oh,
We're
boy.
going to talk about how fucking pretty it is.
Oh,
and Chris
boy.
is going to fucking love it. I'm going to jump scare him when I announce that on the fucking calendar for us. But what makes this song so impressive, it's not just the energy that they start the song out with. It's not just Philibon's scream at the beginning of the song, but it's the musicianship. These guys, especially around this time, were just in their fucking prime with what they were writing and with how they were playing. I remember like a bunch of their songs being on Guitar Hero, and I think it was 6 that was on Guitar Hero. And I remember at the time, like this is very early YouTube days, videos of guys being like, here's me playing, this song by All That Remains on Guitar Hero. I'm like, film a video of you playing it on an actual fucking guitar. It's even harder. But I love their style of songwriting where they have a lot of songs that start out in this way. I just think that this is the most fun example because of that fucking scream at the very beginning. And I remember like when they first came out, I've liked them for a long, long time. I forget the name of the album. I think it's called Overcome. had like a bunch of their super commercial hits where they started to get a little bit prettier sounding. But This Calling was like one of those earlier examples of them starting to move in that way that still had a little bit harder of an edge to it. So that's a really fucking fun song. If you've never heard This Calling, tell someone that you're going to play them something that's really, really low and they got to get real close to the speaker so that they can go right up to it, and then you can play it and it just fucking blows their eardrums out. Chris, do you think that it takes some sort of like superhuman musicianship to be able to write a song like this and write it well?
That is a interesting question, because I think there's going to be this idea like, oh, you just fucking scream and that's it. When it's, we've talked about how challenging and taxing on the body it is to sing and scream and stuff like that. And I think it's almost like whether it's the screaming and the singing or whether it's just writing the song, it's almost like anyone can do it, not anyone can do it well.
Right.
And I think there's a certain way you have to write the song or formulate the song or mix the different elements together for it to be a really good jump scare. I'm sure we've named a few different songs now that have screams at the beginning, which probably tells me that there are plenty more that probably suck. So it's something that can be done, but it needs to be the right combination of someone who can scream the way you want the scream to sound, someone who can write the song the way you want the song to sound, and can play in that style where it mixes together. Like I said, the riff that comes in during the martial arts, that scream that happens at the beginning, even the scream that's at the end of the chorus in Hypertension, what adds to it is not just the scream on top, but it's the music underneath that, kind of builds everything, even going to the number of the beast. You have that quick voiceover, you have it kind of quiet, and then it builds up to that Bruce Dickinson scream as they hit those chords underneath. And so you need something to match that energy that people are actually going to want to enjoy it and listen to it.
Right. Where they're not just covering their ears after that and saying, like, this is god-awful fucking music.
Yeah.
Chris, what's the next song on your list that reminds you of a nun that's maybe there or maybe not, and then you cut back and then she's not there anymore, and then you look back and she's behind you?
So the next song that does that I'd like to talk about, it's actually a little bit different. We've been talking about the screams and coming out and just all out energy as soon as the song starts. But there's two songs I thought of that do something similar to each other. Okay. And it's more of a musical jump scare in that it comes in, hits like a chord or two, and then it's silent. And then comes back a little bit more, and then is silent again. The first of which is The Shortest Straw by Metallica.
Okay. Yes.
Because it just kind of comes in. They hit those like three chords real quick.
Yeah.
And then it's silent. And so here's something that's funny. The first time I kind of like realized what the song was doing, because I'll admit, Justice is not an album that I've listened to a lot of.
Closing the laptop, ending the podcast, returning to hiatus.
Yep, we're going back on a break. Yep, that's it.
And there I go back to the fucking couch.
Yep,
and
there
Chris
we go.
Takes the fucking bedroom again, because I never fucking win that fight. Why am I continuing this bit? I'm so sorry.
I don't know. I'm so glad
Rule of threes, baby. That's the last one.
I'm so glad that right up until this point, when I'm about to mention it, we've avoided mentioning the "we were on a break" from Friends, because I fucking hate that show. So anyway, The Shortest Straw. I think I've talked about this movie before, but in the movie Hesher, with
yeah, you have.
I think it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing this guy who's more or less like a version of Cliff Burton, who's almost like a guardian angel over this kid. His introduction in the movie is to The Shortest Straw. And
That's cool.
it's a jump scare. The kid is like looking out the window and he turns around and all of a sudden Hesher is standing there when the song starts playing.
That's fucking cool.
And it's like what the fuck? And like it was used as a jump scare, and I thought that was so cool.
That's great.
Its use of doing that in the movie. So the other song that does almost the same exact thing is Prison Song by System of a Down. Because it comes in one chord.
Yeah.
And then it's silent. And then they hit the chords again. And then you have, why am I blanking on the lead singer's name? I can remember Serge. I can always remember Darren, the guitarist. I can't remember Serge, where he whispers, you know, they're trying to build a prison. And it's got such, it's like I said, it's very similar in that it's hitting the chord and then silence and then hitting a few more chords and then the whispering. And then they do that like one or two more times and then it goes into the song proper. And I love that type of musical jump scare as well, where it's not anything you're doing vocally, it's not anything you're doing in this extreme wall of sound type of style. It's just, it literally is a musical like kick to the groin. Like it's just, it is just
hits you like a mandatory minimum sentence.
But yeah, it's I love that style where it's just very quickly coming in with the music, but then the silence. And it's almost like the silence immediately following it is what makes it the jump scare, is that it's just, it's the notes they're not playing.
Yeah, there you go. We fucking locked eyes, dude, and I knew it was fucking coming. It's actually the notes you don't play.
But that's especially, like I said, with Prison Song, where it's the opening track of Toxicity. It's the opening track of the album. And it's just
such a good fucking album, too.
And then they come in with more, and it's like, they're trying to build a prison.
Yeah.
And then it's the song that I've seen used as the example of making fun of how absurd System of a Down lyrics can be. Because it goes from, I buy my crack, my smack, my bitch right here in Hollywood. The prison system in the United States of America incarcerates over 2 million Americans. And it's like, those are the lyrics to a song.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. And it's so like absurd, but like that's a more interesting approach, similar to how I've talked about how much of a fan I am of Dead Kennedys and their approach with a song like Police Truck, where he is singing about how bad police brutality is by singing from the perspective of a policeman who is perpetrating all of these horrible acts on people. Yeah. And it's interesting to see System of a Down almost take a similar approach of like, we're going to write this really silly song about how fucked up the American prison system is.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, and I dare say a little bit more creative than like Cop Killer by, Body Count, which I fucking love.
Yeah.
But it's a little too direct, I guess.
Yeah, it's not a metaphor anymore, or it's not like a play on words. It's definitely just more in your face. It's supposed to be more about shock value.
Yeah.
Whereas
100%.
Like Police Truck is tongue in cheek. Then you've got Prison Song, which is like was teaching us at fucking 11 or 12 years old, like what's going on in the prison system in America. And until recently, it's like, oh, that's what the lyrics are fucking saying. Where this one's just like, no, I'm going to fucking go out there and kill you.
It's the first lyrics of Cop Killer. I've got my black gloves on. I've got my ski mask on. Like he's not like hiding what he's doing. He's not.
It's not tongue in cheek.
It is very much like, I'm going to go out and kill a pig. Like that's the type of shit he's saying.
So it loses some of that, but it goes back to the point that you were making where it takes a certain kind of finesse to be able to do these songs in the quote unquote right way, because there is no right way to do music, but some methods are more effective than others.
Yeah.
And one song that hits me like, fuck, what's another jump scare I want to use? So the last song that hit me like the very first time I ever saw the Brazilian birthday party scene in Signs, where the alien comes out from behind the fucking building. It's behind!
Vamonos, children!
Oh, boy. I bet you guys fucking missed us. That's the song Violence Forever featuring Megan O'Neill by the band Squid Pisser. Now, Squid Pisser is fucking awesome. They are balls to the wall fucking energy at all fucking times. And they are just as shocking as the name would imply. Just in appearance, they're in masks. It's a lot like the Lotus. I think that there is some musical connection there. I believe the guitarist used to play in the Lotus. That's not the right fucking word. The Locust is the word I was looking for. Not this little kit car that you can build on your own for like $25,000. But they're a lot of fucking fun. And it's just the energy with which every one of their fucking songs comes on is insane. This song really does feel like it embodies that feeling of violence forever. And Megan's voice on the song is fucking great. The music is great. The cool thing with Squid Pisser is that that's a sentence I never thought I'd say, is that their music, like it's like noise metal, but then you've got like some electronica elements with some elements in the drums and like loops and samples that they'll have throughout the songs and stuff too. And everything's very off kilter. You never quite feel like you have a good grasp on anything. Kind of like David Gordon Green never really having a good grasp on the plot of a horror movie. And so I love that feeling of not being properly balanced, like not really ever being able to get a good grasp on what's going on. So the song just like continuously jump scares you as it's going. And it's just a lot of fucking fun. I really, really fucking like Squid Pisser. And I think that you fucking should check them out too. Like I was so impressed by them. Obviously the name fucking caught my attention. But I think I might have even said to you, like, I think I've found the new band that I'm going to be annoying about. They're a lot of fun. I grew up listening to shit like fucking mindless self-indulgence. So this was like right up that sort of alley in terms of like borderline insufferable. When you put them on, like this should not be enjoyable to listen to, but it is. There's just something about it. So yeah, check out the song Violence Forever by Squid Pisser. I really fucking like it. All right, Chris, what's your recommendation this week for best jump scare songs?
So my recommendation this week for a jump scare song is, I'm going to just do the whole album. Gwar's 2004 album, War Party.
Okay.
The very first song, Bring Back the Bomb, starts immediately with music and vocals. And so the very first thing you hear is Odorous yelling at you, Hiroshima, a shadow burned in time, Nagasaki, naked baby melts alive. And the whole song, Bring Back the Bomb, is about dropping more nukes. And that should be the whole thing. Like there's a line where it's like, why stop at only 2? You know? Like it's so, there's another one, Christ. There's another great line, saving the whales an agenda for some, but nuking them sits well with me. But it is absurd the way only Gwar can be. But like I said, it starts and like, it doesn't stop. Like there's no break. Like it starts with the vocals and the music immediately. This alien yelling in your ears about how great it is to drop nukes and that we should have dropped more. And like, it's just nonstop right through the very first chorus. And so it's so cool that the album just starts off that way. And then other great tracks off of this album are like Womb with a View, the title track, War Party, is a great song. The Reaganator is a really good song. The closing track, Fistful of Teeth, is a lot of fun. But yeah, like I said, this album starts with a fucking jump scare where it's just Odorous yelling at you. And yeah, that's why my suggestion for a great musical jump scare is Gwar's 2004 album, War Party.
That's fucking awesome. I'm so glad that it's Gwar because they pair so nicely like a slice of cheese to the wine that is the band Winnie Puh. Apparently, they are from Estonia. I discovered them through a clip of this song on YouTube where they are playing the song, which starts out immediately with this high-pitched screaming of what apparently is the title of the fucking song. Just wait for it, because I'm trying to kill time so I don't have to try to say this fucking title. So they're tied by their ankles while they're playing their instruments. The ropes that they're tied to start to pull them. So they're now on their backs, playing their instruments, singing, being pulled up over the stage. That's all of them, the drummer included. And it's so much fucking fun. Now, all of this is happening while they're in costume, and they're all wearing masks with hair all over it. So they kind of look like the people affected by the werewolf disease. I know I don't know the fucking actual medical name for it. If you've forgotten, I don't do enough research. But the name of this song is Mysekundimes ux Karsakov lax elelati. And that's the best fucking attempt you're going to get at that. But Winnie Puh is fucking incredible. Kind of like Squid Pisser. It's just a lot of noise and a lot of fucking chaos and a lot of fucking fun. And during this performance that I first saw them on, there's just like a lot of shaky cam, and it just makes the song that much more fucking fun. And there's a dude playing a double bass. I mean, there's the fucking face masks with the hair. They're so fucking cool. You have to fucking listen to this song. Good luck trying to find it. And good luck to Russell trying to get it onto the playlist for us. That's the song. Let me try this again. Mikumdis ux Karsakov lax elelati by the band Winnie Puh. Chris, it was a lot of fun getting back to our regular routine. I'm so happy that I'm no longer sick. I'm so happy that you found your way out of the Grand Canyon. And I'm just glad to be doing what we love for our wonderful, wonderful listeners. Just want to remind everyone that episodes are going to resume in the regular schedule bi-weekly. You can find us over on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube or anywhere else that you listen to your podcasts. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok as well. Just fucking show some love, show some support, and whenever the episode drops, leave in the comments what your favorite jump scare songs are. And with that, thanks for tuning into the Scrap Metal Podcast. The time has come for us to pack up our gear, but we'll be back to rock out with you in the next episode.
Stay metal, everyone.
Good night!